What is going on, YouTube? Hopefully you're having a great day. So after the Nintendo Direct this past week, we got the announcement of the holiday for 2023 on Nintendo Switch, and the future of handheld as well. Now, this video is going to be putting together all the clues that Nintendo has left us and making an educated prediction on when the Switch 2 will launch and how it will happen. So without further ado, let's begin. First, we have to wind the clock back to the latest Nintendo earnings call. For those who did not know, every major corporation has an earnings call every fiscal year, and they report how they're doing money-wise and talk a little bit about the future to the shareholders. For this year's call, which took place this March, we learned quite a bit about the future of Nintendo Switch. For starters, we learned that no new hardware will be happening at all through the next fiscal year, so we can with 100% certainty say there will be zero chance of Switch 2 releases from now until about April 2024, although May is also unlikely as well. This is helpful because the more information that we have that is 100%, the clearer the picture gets. You'll see as we move along. We also got some very interesting comments from the head of Nintendo, where he said, and I quote, "Sustaining the Switch sales momentum will be difficult in its 7th year. Our goal of selling 15 million units this fiscal year and holiday season is a bit of a stretch, but we will do our best to bolster demand going into the holiday season so that we can achieve that goal." This statement was made back in May, and wouldn't you know it, they announced a Super Mario RPG and a new Super Mario Bros. Wonder 2D game. Those two reveals should get Nintendo a good holiday season with proper advertising and marketing, of course. However, the key part of this statement is the expectation. He acknowledged that keeping sales for the Switch up will be tough in its 7th year, and even said that they are in uncharted territory. And while 15 million new sales seems lofty, they will do their best to meet that goal. What we can infer from this statement is that every year going forward, the Switch sales will decline further and further. This, of course, isn't news at all. Everybody can tell you that. The Switch has basically saturated its market, but it's important to have the actual head of Nintendo acknowledge this themselves, and that, of course, is not good for business. A statement made by the UBS securities analyst Kenji Fukuyama, sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, said in a letter to the clients ahead of the earnings report, "We expect Nintendo not to release a next generation hardware for over the next 12 months, and Nintendo's valuation is very likely to shrink until the launch of a new hardware console." So what does this mean? Well, it means that A, the pressure is on for Nintendo to release new hardware ASAP, but B, the timeline has also been expedited due to a big drop off in the Switch sales that I do not believe Nintendo actually expected, and the performance financially is indicating that drop off. This is where we can put the pieces together and come up with the best timetable for the new hardware. I think with all the information we have, holiday 2024 will be a time period when we get the new Switch or Switch 2, Super Switch, or whatever you want to call it. This is not only based off of the quotes we just discussed, but also Nintendo's usual business of operations. They had their big Direct this past week, which revealed, of course, the two big Mario games. And of course, that Direct was focused on holiday 2023 with light teasers for 2024, that being the Princess Peach game and the Luigi Dark Moon remake. However, what we can say for sure is Nintendo usually has their summer Direct, and then after, sometime in February, they have another Direct. It could be extended to March, of course, but sometime in early spring 2024, we will have another Direct. So Nintendo's calendar will look something like this. February Direct. New Princess Peach game, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, third-party content as well. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course wave should finally be coming to a close this holiday, or by that Direct at least we should have the final announcement for the last bit of content coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So essentially, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at the end of its life cycle with DLC. We should also expect DLC for Tears of the Kingdom that could release sometime in the same date the game released, which is May. I point all this out to say that Nintendo does not have a lot of content left for the Nintendo Switch at all, and it would appear as if they are trying to stretch that content out as best as they can to maintain sales a little bit longer. So after the February Direct that I just mentioned, we will get the formal announcement of new hardware during the 2024 earnings call, which has a set release time for the ending of March 2024. That is when we will 100% get a new earnings call for the Nintendo business. This will be where we get the formal announcement of hardware coming in the next fiscal year. Now, it will not be the confirmation of any name or anything like that, but they will confirm that they do have plans in the next fiscal year to refresh the hardware for Nintendo Switch. That will send YouTube and Twitter into a frenzy with speculation and predictions galore. After that earnings call, we can fast forward to the Summer Games Showcase, where we will have Nintendo Direct. Not part of the Summer Games Showcase, but around that time. That will change up the entire game. During that Direct, we will see the announcement of the Super Switch or the Switch 2, a much more powerful piece of hardware that has all the backwards compatibility of Switch, but with better performance. We will also get the announcement of dates of all or some of the following games: Mario Kart 9, Mario Party 10, Metroid Prime 4, Super Mario Odyssey 2, new 3D Donkey Kong game, which is being worked on by the Odyssey team, and possibly a new Pokemon game of sorts. These are just my predictions, but most of them are rumored to be in development now, with the only oddball being a new Pokemon game. Game Freak, I believe, was working on something new, so we will have to see if this is a new Pokemon game or something that's different. Either way, Pokemon should keep chugging along. Finally, you may be asking yourself, when would this hypothetical Super Switch console even release? Well, to give you a specific time period, I believe it will release in September for two reasons. The first being the holiday season for business unofficially starts in September. Once the calendar tells August goodbye, you can see some stores putting up Halloween decorations and even Christmas stuff too. Some would say that's shameless, but I enjoy the holiday season a lot and I want it to start as early as possible so you won't catch me grinching about it. Anyways, the point is, a September release date allows for the full fall and winter of 2024 going into 2025 to be dominated by Nintendo's new cool device. The second reason is also simple too. In the summer, people play outside. They go to the beach. They go play basketball. They just are never home playing their actual console. That's why most AAA games avoid summer releases. People are at the movies watching that next big blockbuster hit. It's also why showcase season is typically in the summer, and Nintendo is no exception. All of their AAA games usually release outside of the summer so that people can with 100% certainty be home to play those games. Knowing this information, that we will not have any hardware through May 2024, we can speculate that the console would 100% release alongside the games that are presumed to be announced at that Summer Direct in the holiday of 2024. And like I said, holiday starts September 1st for these businesses, whether we like it or not. So voila, there is my official roadmap to the Switch 2, but also a definitive, educated guess on how Nintendo will handle this cross to the next generation. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how Nintendo should handle the actual hardware of it all. The biggest thing that Nintendo has to realize is what Microsoft did. And I know that sounds crazy because Nintendo is infinitely more successful at selling games and consoles than Microsoft, but hear me out. Nintendo made a lot of mistakes in their past, just like Microsoft. The N64 did not hit as well as it should have, the Wii U was a failure, even the GameCube was kind of a mishandled failure on their end. So how can you assure that the Switch 2 or Super Switch doesn't end up like the N64 or Wii U, but rather ends up like the Wii and the Switch itself? Well, two reasons. The reason one, the N64 repeat is not going to happen is because of crossplay, cross compatibility, and backwards compatibility. This has to be a focus for the Switch 2. Everything that you play on the Switch should also be able to be played on the Switch 2 without question. In fact, if you look at what the Xbox Series X has done, it's the same thing. Any Xbox One game can be played on the Xbox Series X, and they even have upgrades to some of those games, including the Xbox Series X and S version of specific games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That is exactly what Nintendo should do. They should have the Switch and the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 should be able to play anything the Nintendo Switch did. That way, people's existing library of games that they spent so much money on still exist on the next generation console. And also, they have to have performance updates for those games on the Super Switch, like Scarlet and Violet having a frame rate performance mode. And number two, they have to make sure that this new Switch is more customizable. People want to have their own personal touch on this new Switch. Whether it's custom cases, a new cool background for their UI on the software end, people want to put their personal touch on the Switch and make it feel like it's theirs. So while I appreciate the Splatoon 3 edition of the Switch and the Tears of the Kingdom edition, they're really cool, people want to choose for themselves. And that's another thing that Microsoft does well. You can customize the controller, the headset, even have the Xbox Design Lab create a bunch of stuff for your Xbox. So yes, I believe Nintendo should take the best parts about what Microsoft does and implement them for the Switch 2. But what do you guys think? Does this roadmap seem viable and likely? Do you think Nintendo's going to take a different approach, or am I 100% on the money? Let me know in the comment section down below, and thank you as always for checking out this video. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button for more content like this. But until next time, thank you for watching this video. Peace.